It is what is this?
Tuesday podcast on Thursday.
Tuesday podcast on Thursday.
This is the Baking It Down podcast with Sugar Cookie Marketing, and I have to apologize. I was a little under the weather at the beginning of the week, and I'm coming off of it. Still a little nasally, but spirits are high.
And so you can tell us apart this time because Corey is the post-sick twin, but I feel like I'm headed towards the pre-sick twin. I don't know. My body's like, it's like treats germs like Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
But I haven't even been around you.
I was around you Saturday. My body's like, hey, that's a nice germ you got there. What if I got it?
Well, get ready to be miserable for 2 days.
So if somebody is just tuning in for the first time ever and not horrified by your nasally speech pattern, what could they expect to hear on the Baking It Down podcast?
The Baking It Down podcast is a spinoff from a group on Facebook called Sugar Cookie Marketing. And in that group, we talk about business, marketing, advertising, copy, customers, and everything like that. But I realized when I am baking, I can't be on a screen scrolling, no matter how much I want to be wasting my life on TikTok.
Have you ever used your elbow to shove a screen along?
I think I've called X's on accident trying to scroll to the next screen. But I said, let's start a podcast so people can at least get one little nugget of marketing know-how each week that they can use in their business. So you have found that little nugget of marketing.
You're welcome. Please grab us these.
It's not as good as Chick-fil-A's nuggets, but it's a nugget.
We're still on Sundays.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to talk about is an interesting topic. I'll say that in my life, I have been called non-emotional a lot of times.
Should rock a wall.
Rock in our place. That said, what we want to talk about is mixing emotions with business. The pros and the inevitable cons.
The pros are you can be so passionate. You can just bleed and cry for your company.
Right. You truly put your literal heart. That's how you get that red color.
To it. But also the con is you get so emotional, it clouds good judgment. Mm-hmm. Whether that be talking to the customer in the correct way, what you buy for your business. I mean, you can make emotional purchases. If I'm sad, I will buy cookie cutters.
An impulse buy. My favorite kind of buy.
Yeah, especially like if you go to places like CookieCon, you see everyone buying something and you buy it, man. Because you're on this high.
I'm not going to be the downer. I'm going to be the upper.
Yeah, put that in the bag. I'll take two.
It's doing that, lady. Come on, man.
I'm going to cough real quick.
Oh. See, now everyone's going to be like in their cars.
I know. No, you can't catch it.
I could catch it because I'm sitting here.
I don't catch it because I just coughed on her.
My body where I got it. Just holding it down so I want to do something fun. Mm-hmm. But back to emotional decision making. This is going to sound like a bit of a challenge, but you can choose to only access the positive emotions when it comes to business, and the negative emotions you can choose not to access. So you may be saying, okay, load of crapulity, Heather. Yeah. But I was listening to this podcast on emotion management. Yeah, you'd have to have emotions to be able to manage. What is that like? What is being happy like? But this is the guy's challenge. I think it was that Waking Up app. Okay? He said, think of a positive experience you've recently had.
Okay, hold on. Mm-hmm.
And now think of a negative experience you recently had. So you see your face immediately too. Yeah. So you accessed a positive feeling and became that, and then you accessed at will, by choice, a negative feeling and became that.
I did.
So his point is you can choose what you want to be emotional towards.
Okay.
So in our business, it is awesome to have passion and will and drive and maybe just a sprinkling of ego, but not a lot of it. Yeah. And really use that to empower our business to kind of make a unique selling proposition to our audience. So we're just not one of a number of bakers, right? You have this person, oh, they're so sweet. Or this person, oh, they're so nice. Oh, they're so thoughtful.
You can see, like, just in posts, people who are passionate about their business, maybe people who are burnt out and kind of over it. Like, you can get that.
So you've seen my posts? But yeah, so that's the thing. And that passionate, unguided passion can lead to burnout because you're burning the candle from both ends. So I'm trying to make these people happy. I'm trying to make their event special, but I haven't brake checked my own emotional investment into the business. So when it comes, the phrase, hey, it's just business. It means don't take it personally. It's just business. And in business, kind of taking a more bipartisan, less emotional approach to decision making can and actually in camp, it will make a better difference in your business.
What I imagine when I think about my little tiny bakery business is when I'm talking to a customer, there's me, the artist, the baker,
Passionate,
autistic,
autistic.
loves what she do. And then there's another version of me, the business owner. This business
Sterile.
owner, sterile. This business owner and this passionate person, I'm both of those people, but they are not the same person.
Right.
So when someone says, I don't like that design, this passionate version of me, how dare you?
Right. I love that was my rendition of my child.
That is the Mona Lisa. Cookies. But the business owner of me can step aside from that passionate version and be like, let's get same side. Let's be same siders here.
Yeah, like, I don't like it either. What can we do to fix it, right?
What
What is
can
the
we do?
non-emotional approach to this? Okay, my guilty pleasure. The only show, Corey binges Netflix. Just
it.
doesn't matter. If it has a pulse, she's watching it. Were you watching Sandman, I guess?
I was watching Will and Grace circa 1998.
But Sandman, that's what everyone's talking about
What?
on Netflix.
No?
It's got it's 30 recommendations. Apparently,
Is it a
it's-
show?
Yeah, not a clue.
A
man.
documentary?
No, it's like one of those shows you like that has absolutely no parallels to reality.
You know what I'm going to go to now.
So Corey loves those types of take me into Fantasyland shows.
Yeah. I want to escape reality.
I want reality documentaries. My favorite thing. Even I try to like turn something else on. I find myself saying, let's look at
TikTok on my phone.
Yeah. So what I love to watch is Mayday, Mid-Air Disasters. Now there's two versions of it, one in the UK, one in America. That's why it has two different names.
I'm
But
sure
it's
they're
just-
running to go find it on there.
You guys, it's an hour long. No, you can watch them all free on YouTube now, but I have paid for them on Amazon. But it's just a documentary from the FAA perspective of huge jetliners going down and what happened because it can record everything. Okay, little graphic.
Everyone listening, if you wonder why Heather is the way that she is.
No, imagine. But when the plane is about to land, so in these jetliners, you always have two pilots, a pilot and a co-pilot, because, two people, not in our instance, two people make some mistakes in there. So when you have the co-pilot and the pilot, a lot of the levers only work if both hands are on it. That way, hey, you're making a decision, you agree on making the decision, we have to make the decision together. But as soon as the pilots get into a position where they have to make big boy judgment calls, so landing the plane, taking off the plane, or anything in between, they call it sterile cockpit, which is the point at which you can no longer have conversations. Everything that comes out of your mouth at this point has to be towards the goal of whatever the plane needs to do.
Okay.
Non-emotional.
Yeah.
Sterile cockpit, when you listen to these voice recorders, in-flight voice recorders, it is just like this, that, do this, and then you constantly...
There's no chit-chat.
There's no chit-chat. Chit-tot. There's none of this. We do not have a sterile cockpit here on the podcast. But when it comes down to what they're essentially saying is take the emotion out of doing these big things for these big planes. And then same in our business when we parallel to it. Okay, client's unhappy. They're emotional. Sterile cockpit. Hey, client, you seem upset. Can you explain to me a little bit more about what happened? And let's work together to find a resolution.
What you do when you don't meet emotion with emotion is you give
Dissipate.
You dissipate. There's not. It's not this.
Try
boiling point that you're coming up to.
Try yelling at somebody and they say, "Oh, okay, I understand." And then try yelling at them again, and you're gonna lose steam.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel weird.
You're yelling back.
Oh yeah, it's hard to yell at someone who says, "I understand."
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that. No, you don't. I don't understand. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what, when it comes to your business, if you are feeling heavy emotion, heavy negative emotion. Now, I do like positive emotions. I think being a positive emotion, being a very kind, being a very like an upper personality type, that will move your business forward. But in just as much, you can choose to not elect to have those negative emotions. So what I've heard is that they say an instant reaction is an emotion, but you not curtailing it becomes a mood.
True.
Right. So I say my personal self, I felt like I was suffering from rumination. So when something went bad, even though I may not have taken it up with a client, I found myself absolutely ruminating on it for like hours at a time, really just destroying my day and my mood.
Yeah.
And instead of, I call Corey, like, this is so frustrating. She's like, what are you going to do about it? If you tell them that, it won't solve anything. So are you just going to continue to let it ruin your day? Yes.
Okay.
Sterile cockpit now. So what I find is like rumination is a choice just as much as not ruminating is a choice.
And you were talking about it with a negative customer experience, but I see it in the cookie group with people that don't get a response from the customer that they wanted. Like, so, hey, I sent them my sketches. I haven't heard back. And now I am ruminating on, they hate me. They are going to talk bad about me. They don't like what I did.
So let's take that scenario and sterile cockpit it. Okay. So I sent my client a design. I haven't heard back yet.
I'm going to freak out right now.
You could take a couple of approaches. Remember, we're electively not choosing the emotional response. Mm-hmm. So my first line of defense is they're probably busy.
True. Okay, I'm way more emotional than that, so scoot me on to the next one.
My second thing is maybe they're discussing it with the people who are involved in this party.
Get to the one where I think they hate me.
We're not getting scared. We're literally staying away.
But then the third one, if you are working through that process, ask them. It's okay to ask, hey, I sent you the sketches. Just wanted to know what you think. And take that power away from your brain to ruminate, to think all these kind of thoughts and just ask for the answer.
Or maybe submit a positive thought. They love it so much they fainted.
They fainted.
They're out cold of happiness. But choosing these negative emotions will translate to a negative existence overall, if we're honest, but a negative interaction. Because when that client responds and says, hey, I was wondering if I can make a change. Oh, you hate it. Yeah. Well, this is what I offer. That's why, like when Corey gets a text from her ex text, I say you have to read it as if you're in a monotone voice because we don't know the inflection as much as we infer inflection. Yeah. So Corey reading those texts, they are boring. But when we take out the emotion, whether the sender intended it or not, we can reply with a non-emotional response.
And another case in point is when you quote someone a price and you do not hear back. Guess what? It's not the point where you run to the group. Should I lower my prices? I didn't hear back.
So if you're priced correctly. Here's the non-emotional.
Yes.
If you're priced correctly, you allocate enough to cover your cost, to cover your time, to cover your indirect costs, and to cover your profit because you're a profitable business. And you send somebody your quote and they don't respond or they play Casper, stunt double, and Ghost. That is absolutely fine. They aren't your target because they don't fall within the profitability that you'll need for your business.
There's no emotion in there because you cannot price yourself lower because you cannot work for free.
I hate to say this. It's just a math problem. And when you say, hey, it's a math problem for them. Hey, they wanted to order for you. You're out of their budget. Do they owe you a response? Hey, be nice. But sterile cockpit, they're probably busy trying to find somebody else.
Yeah. Because I costed out what the least amount I can make, there's no emotion when I tell you what my price per dozen is. There's no emotion. If you take it, wow, great, wow, mind-blowing, great, awesome.
Whoa.
I can't believe it.
I will ruminate about your decision.
Are you sure you read that correctly? But there's no emotion there because I can't price it lower. It's not a guessing game to me. It is what it is. If I can work for you, I have to make this amount. So if you say no, you're not telling Corey, I hate what you do. No, you love what I do. That's why you came to me in the first place. It just doesn't fit in your budget.
Math problem.
It's a math problem.
Math problems are boring.
They're not emotional.
They're safe.
Except for I was
Division
emotional.
is emotional.
I was emotional in high school when I did horrendous in math.
I did do those speed drills, and I think that causes adult trauma, doing a speed drill when you're in third grade. Another example of it is when someone says, that's a little high. Do you have anything cheaper? How dare you question my
Do you think I'm not worth it?
Maybe she's worth it. Maybe she's not worth it. But what they're saying is like, hey, in my math problem, I can't get
you
there.
You don't fit in there.
You divide by 1. Divide by 0. Doesn't the world explode when you divide by 0? Anyways, what they're saying is like, hey, in my math problem, my non-emotional math problem, I can't factor that in. Is there anything you can do to lessen the amount of workload? Which now it also becomes a math problem. If you spend less time decorating, you can offer a lesser price. If you offer a less of a total amount.
Let's do simpler designs. I know you wanted 2 dozen. Let's do 1 dozen where it's just simple flooded cookies, and then we'll do 1 dozen a little bit more detailed. So you still get the best of both worlds, but something that fits in your budget.
Are you undervaluing my time, Corey? Right. So instead of saying an emotion, they don't value me. Oh, look, it's a math problem. I'm at the current rate I quoted them. I'm outside of their math problem. If I can lessen the work on my side, that discount I can pass along to them. And possibly, if you look at the way Corey and I kind of do it, when you discount it, it's actually a ton less work. I know how you work, and you're going to give them a very small amount of colors and design options.
Yeah.
But you're still saying it's part of your math problem. There is a surcharge for you being so last minute and, going off my script of quote, but I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to come down if you're willing to come up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're like, perfect. Now you fit in my math problem.
Absolutely.
It wasn't a stab at Corey's talent. It wasn't trying to snake around to see if they can get one over. If you're not getting one over on a cookie baker, just go get an Oreo.
Yeah.
That'll get one over on them. But yeah, it's just really comes down to removing yourself from the emotion. Now, if you say, Heather, I live in my emotions. I am the thought I had before this one and the thought I'll have next. You can actually train yourself to not exist in your thoughts. That would be practicing mindfulness, which is I find very difficult, but very rewarding. But a great fall guy is policies. Policies are non-emotional.
Forms
Forms are
weeded out. On my form, it says your base pricing starts at $65 and goes up from there. You have to agree to that to fill out my form. Guess what? When they come to me, when they are sitting in my warm old inbox, they know.
The math problem has been problemed.
There's no ruminating.
A great example of non-emotional policy handling is like Corey and I teach these cookie classes. It is slightly frustrating, negative emotion right there, when somebody cancels on the class the day before. However, that is in our policy. I think that they're allowed to cancel. They're allowed to get a credit. They're allowed within 7 days. They cannot no longer cancel. They've been made aware. That's in the policies. But within that 7 days, they can get a class credit for the next one. If they do that the day before, well, we weren't able to fill their seat. That's the frustrating part. See, that's a negative emotion. I give them a credit for a future class that expires in a year. A lot of people just let those credits expire. Blows my mind. But what we can do is turn around and see if we can sell that kit, or Corey can possibly give it to a past client to say, hey, we have a seat open up. Does anybody want it? So we took a negative emotion, somebody canceling last minute, and we turned it into a positive experience for someone else. Guess what? We don't have to ruminate anymore. Corey has built more rapport. Maybe she can even offer just a ticket at a discount, in which case we still provided the income and we got the person's credit for the next class. Yeah. Again, policy is a fall guy. So typically when someone's like, hey, I won't be able to make it, what do? Yeah. Hey, we're in the past 7 day time thinking, but I can be happy to credit you guys for future class. In fact, I gotta say our Christmas classes are one of the best. They always sell out. So if you want to just apply that credit now, you can feel free to do it, and we'll see you sometime in December.
Yeah. A lot of times with this emotion things, it takes people off guard. So if you were to sit back and say, hey, these are here in the sales process is where I become super emotional. If you can step back and think of things in the past with your past clients that have caused you to not have a handle on your emotions, you can set up those boundaries, set up those forms, set up those rules, set up those whatevers to help be there for you so you're not taken off guard. Because as much as we say, oh yeah, own your emotions, it's easier said than done. And there's always going to be something that pops out of left field. But if you can plan ahead, like I hate when customers nitpick my designs. Okay, that tells me that when you send your first sketch, hey guys, here's the first round of sketches. I'm going to allow you 2 changes. Once those 2 changes are decided, I'm just going to go ahead, lock in, and I'll be baking away. So you can set yourself up for success and it help you get those emotions
navigate
on hold.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
COVID over there.
Sorry.
So you can make your sentences shorter if you have to.
Sorry.
So a great way to indicate this, and I've been trying to practice it myself since February when I knew I had a problem because I was thinking about a problem for 4 hours. I said, what I need to identify in myself is that negative emotion as soon as I feel it. You know what you feel like when you get that.
This gut right here.
Little gut's like, buddy, hey, come here, got a little secret to tell you. We're not happy. You can feel it through an adrenaline increase, heart rate increase. That's the release of cortisol.
Muscle tension.
Right in the middle of the shoulders, back of the neck.
Yeah, right here.
Tension headache is a great indicator that you're sitting there in your emotional puddle. You're not in the sterile cockpit of life. You're not landing the plane. The plane is going to be on FAA mid-air disasters. But what you can do is kind of be more attuned into your present moment. I sound like selling Hocus Pocus. Isn't that coming out?
Yeah, it is.
Is it in the movies or is it direct to streaming?
I don't know. I feel
one of my customers
direct
to streaming vibes.
either.
Disney Plus trying to get that
that's
Netflix
what we said.
monitor. But when you really come down to it, I always say this: humans are just like sacks of chemicals, right? If you aren't eating, if you haven't slept well, you are going to be more emotional than somebody who has eaten and slept well.
Yeah.
Always start there. I've had a bad day. Get that extra hour of sleep. I just finished the book Why We Sleep by Matt Walker, PhD in sleep science. And that is going to scare you into an early bedtime.
Do you have to sleep to get that PhD? Because that might be when I sign up for it.
In the intro of the book, he says, please let this book play while you fall asleep. I do not mind.
Oh, that's okay.
It's also 13 hours, and I did fall asleep. But get more sleep. Having more sleep clears out the brain plaques around your neurons and cleans out your decision-making process. So in the book, he says they've run tons of tests on people's decision-making before and after a great night of sleep. And he says sleep opportunity is different than actual sleep time. A sleep opportunity is I went to bed at 9 and I woke up at 8, but in that huge amount of 11, I only slept 8 hours. So sleep opportunity, you have to give your body enough time to fall asleep and wake up. Fall asleep, eat food, Corey, that makes your belly, Corey, happy. They say your gut is your second brain. If your bell ain't happy, man, the brain ain't gonna be happy either.
Amen.
So it makes you emotional. And I know that it's so frustrating to think that we're such simple beings that a solid meal is going to cheer you up. But
It does.
They did a study on courtroom convictions.
Yeah.
And the judge right before lunchtime was harsher than the judge after lunchtime. So if you get a speeding ticket
Tell my kid.
after lunchtime.
Tell my kid come to me after lunch.
Are you happier after an Olive Garden meal?
1,000%.
Right. So you can actually do things to precurse that possibly negative experience you have with a client who may have not had a great experience. Now, feelings are feelings, and you can't invalidate them. If somebody feels...
Don't tell your customer, have you eaten yet? You seem a little cranky.
Why don't you eat this cookie right here?
Do you need a nap?
It tastes like soap. I hate you. So really just removing the emotion out of it and coming down to a math problem, which is why I'm a huge proponent of a business emergency fund. Why? Because when we have an emergency fund, if it's $1,000, it's probably a healthy number. $2,000, who's sitting pretty. Ooh. It's hard to fund an emergency fund because it's literally money sitting there, burning a hole in your pocket. And then Eddie starts looking at that $2,000 and be like, add one more grand. I'll see you over in the cart section. But when you can provide yourself a little breathing room, what I see as an emergency fund is breathing room to keep you out of that scarcity tunneling mindset. When the client does have an issue, you say, I'm so sorry about your experience. Here's your refund. Here's your $65 back.
Emotionless.
Yeah, because it's now a math problem. It is. So I have an emergency fund of 1,000. They took 65. I still have plenty of breathing room. Now let's say there's no emergency fund. This money you use to sell this custom dozen set goes right to your rent payment. Wow. Now this person is literally taking the roof over your head when they ask for this refund. That is an emotional proposition.
You are emotional.
I'd be emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. In tears.
And then you're going to fight tooth and nail to tell this client they're wrong because at the other end, if the client's right, there's no roof over your head.
Yeah.
That is
they
emotional.
have to be wrong. That's just not a spot that you want to be in where emotions are driving your business because that will be such an emotional roller coaster for you and you will want off at the first stop.
Yeah, that's not the roller coaster we want. So really, I hate to say it, protecting your mental and physical health, getting the right nutrition. I know it sounds like a science project. Hey, science problems, math problems, right? Yeah. No emotional other than sleeping, which apparently is another great one. Getting your body in the right mental state. They say that if you take a walk, if you get outside for 30 minutes, just a walk, raising your heart rate slightly, you will be guaranteed happier overall.
Yeah.
So if you could say, okay, if you guys want my health little Rex, more sleep. Give yourself enough time, enough sleep opportunity to sleep 8 hours, which means you're going to look at being in bed 9 hours.
And people are like, no, but I have to bake. That's another podcast we're going to get to about time management.
Right. You are going to be a less happy person. I can speak with guarantee with PhD Matt Walker behind me. You're going to be a less happy person if you do not sleep enough. You're going to be a more emotional. You're going to make poor decisions if you don't get enough sleep. You're going to make poor decisions. You're going to be less happy if you don't go for a 30-minute walk. And plus, 30-minute walks are great, man. I love them.
It just gets me away from the house just for a hot minute.
Yeah. Take the dog out if you want to.
That's
find
why
the
I got
hubs.
a dog, but Ray is not a walker. He's more of a mosier with mini stops.
Hey, man, you got to smell those roses. Somebody's got to. And then, make sure that you're well fed in food that doesn't make your belly hurt, which is a huge battle for me. Corey, losing battle, for sure.
Why does all the bad stuff taste so good?
What do you say? Like, what would you say makes your stomach hurt the most?
Steaks.
And don't you eat them all?
Right, yeah, I love it.
So do you know, like, when you eat the steak, I'm going to be less happy after?
Absolutely.
I'll tell Arch.
Yeah.
Don't talk to her on a steak day. But yeah, so you can take the physical aspects of your emotions and handle them better. I challenge everyone to this. Consider mindfulness. Consider sitting down and really understanding if you're sitting in your emotions and your thoughts, and if you can acknowledge, oh, that's just a thought, and it can go away and I can control it. Mm-hmm. Now, from a business aspect, that emergency fund, man.
Yeah.
Staying organized. I cannot begin to tell you the stress of disorganization. I was listening to another book. It's called It's All Too Much. And it's a guy who used to do one of the TLC shows on decluttering from 2013 or something. If I knew his name, which I can't remember, you can look it up. He said he went to a guy's house. They had a very cluttered house. But back when checks are how you pay bills. Yeah. Imagine if we had to write a check for everything today. I don't even know how to write a check.
I know how to write a check.
Right. So imagine no auto drafting. You have to write a check to pay lights and utilities and stuff like that. So he said, on average, he was watching how this family performed, and he said he watched the husband spend 10 minutes trying to see where he set the checkbook. Finds it, and then the husband says, how often do you do this? Well, I usually write checks twice a day.
So twice a day.
So if you spent 10 minutes twice a day.
You're at 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then it's over 100 hours a year spent looking for a checkbook. Now, if I said 100, they say if you do something for 100 hours, you're going to be pretty good at it. Yeah, so imagine if you could be more organized in your business, you will be less stressed, which will make you less emotional. Organization in business looks like using Google Calendar. It looks like using email form submissions. It looks like purchases through websites, automatic payment collection at time of ordering.
Physically, it's having a cookie cutter storage idea, app, anything like that, knowing where your supplies are, having your boxes in one place, knowing where your brushes are, your scribes are, everything's in the same place. You're very organized physically as well.
Not emotional. So when someone's like, you forgot this, all you say, excuse me, I'll be right back. I know exactly where I put this. Yeah. You don't have to spend the 10 minutes looking for the specific cookie cutter. Now, as a baker, multiply the time you spend looking for cookie cutters across every order you get.
When I can't find it. Heather's been there when I
get a text. Can you print this?
Hey, I'm not emotional. I need you to print this.
It's a math problem. Here's $4. But so that's really going to take this emotional aspect out of it. You just got to keep saying to yourself, hey, it's just business. And in that phrase lies the non-emotional, because you usually see that phrase is said right after you do something real dirty to somebody. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's business. But that means that the person has separated their personal emotions and their business emotions from their decision-making process.
We had a customer once that we could not end up having as our customer. She was so emotional. Every phone call was the end of the world. But at the end of the day, her business model wasn't the end of the world. If she didn't...
I remember one time I hate to dog on her. No client bashing. She said, Heather, in the past 2 weeks, I've slept a total of 2 hours. You would die. They say that humans can only be awake for less than 5 days before the body starts shutting down. Yeah. So, okay, that was very dramatic, very emotional. But the email said I've only slept 2 hours in 2 weeks. Another phone call. Heather, I can't even feed my dogs. And I said, I'm so sorry. Then I hear, bing, latte for client name. You're at Starbucks? And the dogs are starving? So that lady was living 100% in her emotions. But if she had been able to really separate herself from her emotions, then not everything would be crisis territory. Yeah. I'd assume that she probably wasn't sleeping a lot. I'd assume that she probably didn't have a lot of cash flow. And it was causing her to make these really kind of reckless decisions. And it was a really stressful life that she was leading.
Yeah.
I gotta take a breather after that one. I remember that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Proxy stress.
Yeah. And I mean, Heather was dealing with her. She was the main point of contact, but Heather, after she would talk to her, would come just on edge.
Just needed decompression.
Yeah,
just kind of sit.
decompression. So Heather's health was suffering because this lady didn't sleep.
Right. And then when it was our first chance to kind of offload that client, like we took it. And at no fault of her own, it threw under another crisis.
Yeah, because that's what she was living, in a world of crises.
So my challenge, my challenge, is to really see if you can detect. Spend this week. You don't have to do anything other than this. Detecting your emotional triggers.
When do you feel that double heart? Your heart
when
skips
I come over
beat?
a corner about 10 miles over the speed limit, I see the police.
There you go. Yeah. That makes you feel human a little bit.
Nothing releases adrenaline faster than seeing a boy in blue.
Is it your contact with the customer when you send the sketches? If that's where your heart skips a beat, we might need to put in some buffers in there.
A lot of people, get this, don't even do the sketches. Maybe that is an option for you.
I don't do the sketches, mostly because I'm not talented enough to do the sketches.
Right. Hey, buy you an iPad and Procreate, and you realize you had no talent. I thought if I bought those things, that'd be good.
I know that's what you
Not a clue. The iPad looks cool, though, to watch Netflix on.
Is it when you send a quote? Then, hey, maybe you can do,
Corey's thing, the little thing that says, like, hey, just so you know, it's going to be over $65. Are you okay with that?
Is it following up? Then you square and you can cancel invoice 24 hours after it's been unpaid. So there's things in there if you sit back that you can
remove emotion.
To remove emotion and to really help you be successful in your business and not be one crisis to the next crisis to the next crisis.
Crisis decision making is way off the mark.
It is.
It is an unfortunate place to be, and there are crises. But at the end of the day, if you can build up a barrier to crisis, I think you're going to see that you'll mitigate a lot of that.
And at the end of the day, we're bakers. We are not solving world issues here.
That is a great perspective. At the end of the day, the worst case scenario is it tastes like soap. Like, that's our worst case scenario.
Which is a pretty good scenario if we have to think about it.
It relieves a lot of the stress and anxiety. Okay, if we were doctors, man, this would be a wildly different podcast. One move left when it should have been right, and you could completely change something. But yeah, we're dealing with cookies.
My last tip, I'm just going to throw this in there, and I don't ever think about it because you're my built-in buddy, but a built-in buddy to run something by. Am I overreacting here?
Oh, yeah. Just hey, sounding board. Yeah. You can't abuse the sounding board. You have to, if you want somebody to be a sounding board, you have to listen to the sounds they produce back at you. You're crazy.
They can't be your free therapist.
Right. So you can buy my cookies. Corey does that. But it pays in dividends.
But having someone that you can talk to, find a group member that you really jive with and be like, hey, just wanted to run this by you. The customer hasn't responded to me. I'm kind of in my feels about this. I was unsure about my designs, but now they're like making me feel like I'm real unsure about it. And then they're going to be like Heather and be like, get back to work. You're overreacting.
I'm watching Mid-Air Disasters. I don't have it. It's so funny. Like, we can have opinions and emotions, but what doesn't have emotions is this Fitbit I'm wearing right now. And I can look at my heart rate. I know it's like such an intrusion of privacy. Google, hello. But I can see, whoa, that caused such a spike in heart rate. Heather, why did this sentence, why did this phrase, why did this person elicit such a response in you? And is that something that you can diagnose internally to see what is causing that in me? Is it an underlying self-doubt that I have? And this person kind of called me out on it. It feels better to fight them instead of truly look introspectively and say, oh man, they only said what I was thinking and it hurt my feelings a little bit. Can I fix that issue behind the scenes? And then, I think that you stand to make much more solid, not only business, it will trickle into your life decisions. Kind of having that sterile cockpit. Are emotions bad? Some of them are, and some of them are great, but you can elect to choose what you want in your life. That goes with people as much as it is your personal emotions. Again, like I said, I have had an issue I've been working on with ruminating the frustrations I have when contracts and, well, that's not fair, X, Y, and Z. Doesn't matter, Heather. It is what it is. This is a reality today. You can let it ruin your tomorrow. Or you can say, okay, I acknowledge that this happened. This is it. I'm moving on.
I would say even if you're built-in buddy, bakers can be, unfortunately, they're going to side with other bakers. My husband is a wall. Man has never made a cookie in his life. So when I'm like, does this look bad? He'll be like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, that's all I need to hear. Back to the drawing board. Yeah. But finding someone who maybe isn't going to just tell you what you want to hear. Other bakers are a little bit biased.
Yeah, it's a real big step in the direction of trusting this person. Mm-hmm. So find somebody trustworthy, but don't find someone who is just a people pleaser. Because then you're going to just hear back what you wanted to hear.
Yeah, and then you're going to I knew I hated it.
Yeah, so like Corey is like, yeah, I was really stressed this weekend. And I'm like, hey, do you want to acknowledge that you allowed this stress to take over your weekend? And she's like, yeah, well, I wanted to be stressed. So yeah, that's my challenge. I think if you really focus the next 6 months on breaking up with your emotional self when it comes to business decisions, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, that is such a more enjoyable aspect. Yeah. Because oftentimes, like, business isn't always a positive emotion. I think it's mostly tends towards maybe negative emotions. The positive things, okay, great, somebody's happy, cool, let me go to the next one.
You almost forget about those.
Yeah, cool, thanks, Lee. You tasted great, I know. But when the inevitable, it tastes like soap pops up, that causes such a dissonance in our brain from what we've been told so long. All
of those, I love you, your cookies are amazing, are all overshadowed by you taste like soap.
Corey and I were analyzing a celebrity who was obviously stunning, gorgeous, and amazing, but one person said something rude. But every other comment is just praising this human with everything. I mean, obviously, just a beautiful human. Yeah. But this celebrity singles out this single comment and replies to just it because of the dissonance it caused in their head and that rumination. And the celebrity is probably dealing with a lot more of that than we are. But we, in the same vein, we often hear, oh, we're so great, we're so awesome, it tastes delicious, you made my party great. And we kind of say, okay, cool. But the dissonance is like, I don't like this. How dare, but it's business. Yeah. They don't like it.
I don't like it.
A lot of people liked it. This person didn't. And I have an emergency fund. Here's your $65. I'm so sorry. Please know that I'll make the adjustments to my business moving forward.
Hope I can earn your business again. Hope you can give me another opportunity in the future.
It's going to taste like soap. So, yeah, I think that you stand to be a lot happier. When I see people in the group and they're like, I am in tears right now. I almost want to be like, oh, sterile cockpit, man. Wipe them tears. Take a big night's sleep. Go to bed, sleep real good.
Drink some water in the morning.
Yeah. And then come back and let's talk about this. Yeah. Because when you're so emotional, it's invoking a physical response like tears. And I think they're legitimately being honest. There's tears. It's because they've taken the words of a client or something or another baker and they've made it a part of their current psyche. Yeah. Stop that emotion right there. Sterile cockpit. FAA. In-flight voice recorder.
Put on this landing.
And then, step back and say, hey, this is what I've been training for. Awesome. I'd love to have been 100%. If I'm at 90%, I'll work on my 2%. Thank you so much. Here's your money back. So sorry we didn't stick the landing.
And Heather and I have been in business a long time, so we've been really able to use our landing gears or whatever and really learn what it is. As you are people who are entering the industry, people who are now putting it in these marketing strategies and their business is growing, you're going to run into these. So you might be like, oh, no, I'm not stressed. Brace yourself. It's coming.
Right. As you grow your business, which if you're listening to this podcast, that's your goal. Yeah. As you grow your business, you expand your client base. You're more vulnerable. You're more. You have more. What's it called when you have more risk? I think you show more of something. I'm thinking of like a car vulnerability.
More
exposure.
Stuff. Yeah.
Exposure. So you have more exposure to things going wrong. Uh-huh. And here it is. I guarantee you they will.
They will.
I can
plan for it.
I guarantee you. Yeah, have a plan. It's going to happen. And then here's the crazy part. As you start a business, you have more self-doubt than anybody does that you're even good at this. And then when you have somebody say, like, you're not good at this, you're like, no, that's what I thought. No. And what you can say, like, oh, hey, this is expected. It's business. It's not emotional. I'm in the cockpit, being sterile. Here's your money back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Crisis averted. Right. We landed. Round of applause.
Plain landing clappers. So yeah, when you're watching those documentaries and they interview somebody from the cabin, you're like, okay, good. Let's land. It's a bumpy one. But yeah, that's my challenge for you guys. So moving forward to the Cookie College. Hard sales pitch.
Hard sales pitch. Get the landing.
The Cookie College is pretty nifty. We actually have the most members we've ever had since we launched this almost a year ago. Plain clap. So we launched, I can't believe it's almost a year-versary.
Wait, what is the exact day?
August 31st.
Is that next week?
That is next week. It's the Wednesday.
Oh my goodness.
Which we'll be doing the Eat That Frog workshop on the ABCDE method in the Cookie College.
Nice.
So a little history of the Cookie College. Corey and I started I say Corey and I because it was just the two of us in the group talking to each other. Weird.
For a long time.
So we launched the Sugar Cookie Marketing Group like mid-pandemic, October 2020.
Yeah.
And then thank goodness a bunch of y'all joined, and that was fun. We said, hey, we do marketing as our day job, which is what we were referring to earlier. What if we just, instead of doing marketing for people, we do marketing with people and teach people exactly what we knew? All they have to do is click the buttons themselves. Ergo, the Cookie College launched August 31st. The next day, Corey and I drive, like insane people, 12 hours down to CookieCon to speak and a marketing segment.
Yeah, we were core speakers, and I did not know you were having to talk for 8 hours, but we talked marketing for 8.
But we said, okay, here's the thing. I got some funny jokes. But when you say the joke the 7th or the 8th time and you're unsure if you've already said it to this poor group of people, and I look at Corey to see if she's horrified or if she too doesn't realize where we're at in the segment that we've been saying for 7 days. So, then we drove down to CookieCon, but when we launched the Cookie College, we decided we keep it threshold at 250.
250 people joined and only 25 courses at that time.
Poor people. But since then, so we've promised these beautiful people who took a risk on us that if they stuck with us, we'd add 3 more courses every month, and then workshops, and then group challenges, and then Corey does some bake-alongs, which I got to add one about ring box cookies sometime this week. We are now at officially 80 classes.
80 whole classes.
Yeah, on
absolutely
everything we kind of talked about earlier. Business organization because it reduces stress. Customer relations management because it reduces stress. Really, what I would like to do with the Cookie College mission is, and I think Corey can agree with this, is train people how to enjoy business better.
Yeah.
Business is a blast. As long as you own it and it doesn't own you.
The success is exhilarating. It's addictive.
I think people are doing things with the money they're earning that they never thought they could before.
Disney trips, buying their brick and mortar bakeries. Someone just opened up a second one.
That was wild. They were asking questions. I think I should ask you. I think you need to teach us. So people in the college, and then people even in the main group, if you're not ready to jump into the college, you can get a lot of that information by really kind of perusing those threads. But in the college, it's hyper-focused to really, hey guys, let's make this work. So happily, I added yesterday the Munbin thermal printer course.
But tell them like how you took them through it.
It was a little bit of a more involved course because I wanted to do the unboxing of the Munbin, and then I wanted to actually show people how to truly plug in the plugs, set it up. There's one driver installation. No panic. We got you links. And then to design a label in Canva. Now, you may love a Munbin, but when you get to this part, this is going to question your reality, is trying to get that Munbin thermal printer to print on the label. But I'd like to say, I think I found the workaround.
Did you choose your right emotion? Were you emotionless, sterile?
I was sweaty. I was like, please print correctly. And then we print off the label. And then we run through some troubleshooting things. So that course, I think you roughly about 40, 50 minutes course walking you through everything Munbin 101. The week before, we had a guest teacher teaching Cricut stencils. I gotta actually take that one because we have a Cricut. And then the week prior to that, Nextdoor. If you don't know what Nextdoor is, you don't even need the Cookie College to tell you. It is a hyper-social networking app. What I wanted to walk people through was just setting up an account, setting up a business profile. Nextdoor did a big overhaul in the last 2 months, showing people how to run Nextdoor ads, and then showing people how to use their personal profile to really integrate, in a subtle way, cookies into their local audience.
And then Heather made me do a bake-along for the ring box cookie, which is great for engagement sets. And great for wedding sets. And the cookies are fairly small because that needs to look like a ring box.
Something from Hobby Lobby on it?
The gem.
Oh, the gem's from Hobby Lobby?
Yeah.
The Ho Baby Low Baby?
Because I am not about to spend the money and try to make isomalt. That there's no profit there. So if we can cut that out, we are going to make more money.
And it turned out real cute. If you want a preview of that course, Corey posted it on the Sugar Cookie Marketing Instagram.
Did.
Reels?
Yeah. A little reel challenge. Hey, went a little virally. 30,000.
30 grand. 30 G's, if only got $1 for the view. So if you want to learn more about the Cookie College, I think it's awesome. We have some really exciting stuff. Corey and I won't be sleeping but we will be teaching. We have some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, but you can check that out at thecookiecollege.com.
If
you have any questions, you can always ask in the group. And if you want specific information about maybe billing or other information like that, you can email me at heather@sugarcookiemarketing.com. If you are upset by something, you can email me at Corey@sugarcookiemarketing.com. So moving on, we actually have some great Facebook Lives coming up. I'd like to, COVID.
Sorry.
COVID Corey over there.
Sorry.
We had some reshuffling of a couple Facebook Lives due to technical difficulties, children, and such. But here's what has passed. I did do a quick Facebook Live demonstration on the Munbin thermal printer. If you just wanted to see how it kind of like super intro, I didn't like show anybody how because I could only use one camera angle, but you can kind of see how the machine itself works. Then we had Stencils 101 Royal Icing Method with Jessica Wolf. That takes us through the Facebook Lives that just happened. And now what's coming up tomorrow is how to plan your Halloween offerings in 1 hour with Jessica Genzel. She rescheduled. She had laryngitis and now she doesn't. And she's going to teach that. That one has a lot of people RSVP'd to it. Jessica Genzel is extremely good at calendar management. So when she tells you 1 hour, I can guarantee you it's going to be 1 hour. Next up is Intro to Baking Cookie Pops with Annabelle Kaczynski. Cookie Pops, great option. However, I did ask in the group, why would they do Cake Pops was hard. People said they'll never do Cake Pops again.
Pops. Oh, Cake Pops because you can have a perfect round circle ball and then you can dip it and it'll look good when you come back. They're all cracked.
Weird.
Yeah. Or the oil drips out of the cake batter and it makes it look yellow.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, there's so many things.
You made them once and you and everybody else who stopped. I think that Meredy taught a live. I don't think it's still up anymore on cake
pops.
She did a cake pop variation and she said it's like cake ice cream pops.
It was an ice cream cone.
And
she put a pop
it was a
in the
great,
top.
In case you have issues. Sugar Dot Cookies. So awesome. If you know who Sugar Dot is, she is a sponsor of the Wednesday Win Thread. Now, something that she offers in her shop are these things called plunger cutters. I thought it was a cutter of a plunger. No, it's a cutter with a plunging type apparatus, and it's great for Dunkaroos. Now, if you know Nicole Stolfa, she is the Dunkaboo, if you want to call him the Halloween extraordinaire. So she's going to partner with Sugar Dot Cookies, and they're going to teach a live on Dunkaroos using plunger cutters. And you can buy those straight from Sugar Dot. She usually posts up a discount code. Maybe going to hold her feet to that fire on that one and say maybe she'll do it for us again. Then we have this one rescheduled as well due to children, how to use Evernote to organize cutters. Didn't we just talk about that?
Didn't we?
And that's with Amanda Gearhart. Evernote is a great app. It's kind of those kind of second brain apps. I use it myself. You can do it paid. It's paid only if you want to have more access on one app. So I honestly think you could definitely get by with not paying for it. And then this one was rescheduled, and I think a lot of people were really excited for this one. Setting up and marketing a cookie camper with Mackenzie Tolan. That will be September 1st at 6:30. Then, you guys probably know David Crable. If you don't, you were probably definitely on his website, theforager.com website. He'll be doing an AMA, starting a cottage food business with David. Now, he's not cookies only, he's cottage.
Yeah, so a cottage baker. So pies, anything that goes to the
That man knows a lot about Cottage Food 101. His website is very comprehensive, and he is treating this like an AMA. A lot of people are asking him some pretty state-specific questions, and he's not saying
ready.
no.
He's ready.
Yeah, so you can actually jump into his event right now and ask him the questions. He said feel free to. And then he'll cover those on September 2nd. Now, September 6th, everything to know about Donations 101 with Kimberly Tracy. She lives up the street from us. Of course, it is a DC street, so it's about 3 hours away. But she is very good about donations. And then as we come to kind of school season, where you get a lot of the solicitations for donations, we come up to the holiday giving season. She's going to cover a lot of that. That'll be a good one. I'm almost done. Steps to make sure your email arrives with Jessica Wolf. Now, as we move into
in that spam folder,
this is called, the technical term is email deliverability. And if you're wondering why your clients always say that your email ended up in spam, you need to take that Facebook Live. Rescheduled. This one, a lot of people are looking forward to. Poor Jen was fighting Zuckerberg, but Intro and Basics of Copywriting 101. That'll be September 7th. And September 14th, make, bake, and decorate pie platters. With Beth Headington, which is so funny. I accidentally typed her name as Best, and she said, I'm not sure if this was intentional. I'm flattered. Or is it a typo? So we have a lot of fun Facebook Lives coming up coming down the pipeline. So you guys can find all
Did
those.
you know I went live on Instagram
No, you
stories?
delete them so fast.
And I did a get ready with me.
With your face? Like
Yeah. I was wet haired and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you blow dry your hair?
Not on there. I said no one wants Garrett Dyson in the morning.
Probably be a little Dyson demo too.
So if you want to see some occasional lives with your favorite twin, head on over to the gram. We do it before Heather wakes up, so she can't join it and make fun
Never
of me.
have seen one of those. Trying to get my sleep schedule with that. But you can find us at sugarcookiemarketing_.com. Oh, on Instagram.
Yeah,
Sorry,
whoa,
not TikTok.
wow.
No. Too far. Okay, that takes us through group stuff.
We got
Cookie
voicemails?
College. Oh, voicemails. Can you keep talking?
Okay.
Watch us not have any. I'm just like, just keep talking. If I make a face at you, it's because we don't have any. Just keep talking.
So what you can do is you can call, text, or email in, and we will listen to your voicemails or your texts and your emails. If you have a question about something that's on the podcast, you just want to give a shout out to another cookier who's done something for you, or in November you want to wish me and Heather happy birthday, you can do that on the podcast. You can email in at hello@sugarcookiemarketing.com, or you can text the number, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Okay, I got it pulled up. Okay. Here's this one. Unfortunately, she attached something, but we can't accept attachments on this voice over IP phone call. So let's just see if we can figure it out. Hello, it's Constance again. I posted it in the group a week or so ago about Instagram Reels. I'm going to include a picture. Don't know if your number is set up to receive them, but we'll figure it out. No, it is not. So I've been playing around with doing different things to see how reach does. In the image, the left 2 reels were posted with a location tag. The middle 2 reels were with hashtags, and the right was without either. Clearly, reels with a location don't reach as many people. But if they are targeting more of an actual customer base, is that positive? Or is it better to get any kind of engagement you can and kind of just leave off location? Or third option, reels with a location aren't reaching as many people, and the ones who are still aren't going to see it geographically located to even be a potential customer. No idea if that made sense, but hopefully there will be some good advice anyways. And then she forgot to attach it, but I can't even see it anyways. But she said, oops, I forgot to attach it.
Well, I think Reels right now are what's winning on the platform of Instagram.
As far as reach and engagement, if we're just looking at those 2 metrics, I can almost assuredly say Reels are going to be it. That's
so I will say what has worked for me is using hashtags that are both local and non-local. So I can end up at the top of a local hashtag. So in my area, I put my little county, my little reel is at the top for them. So if anyone goes to follow that hashtag that's local, is going to see my reel at the top, and they're my local audience that could buy from me.
Do I think, personal perspective, do I think that if you use a reel, you're going to make more local sales? If you use a hashtag in a reel? Not particularly. But what I do think is that the overall account itself will reach more of the people that are following you if you correctly built your audience. Corey's making a face.
I wanted to bring this up because I was thinking about it. Talking about reels, what I've seen a lot of posts going up in the group is I posted a reel and it went viral-ish a few months ago, and I posted this one today and it's only reached 300 people. It takes people a while to jump on the train. Instagram told everybody that what we are pushing is Reels. And now everyone who has been kicking and screaming is now posting Reels. So now you are not the only man in the game. If you have been on TikTok for any amount of time, TikTok users are pushing their followers back to Instagram. They're mad at TikTok algorithms. They say the TikTok algorithm are picky, choosy. They're sending people back over to Instagram. So now you have this influx of people now on the platform, using the platform, creating content that is now going up against your content. It's the ebb and flow of social media. It'll be where Instagram finally does something and we all get mad and go back to TikTok.
To kind of draw it into a realistic life scenario. Okay, we live in Washington, D.C. area. We're in the suburbs. The suburbs of D.C. are considered up to 40 minutes out just because traffic here is so insane. If you bought a house in Arlington in the 70s, you lived off of a cow path, said my grandmother. Every time we drive down there, she'll say, this is where the cows were. So why don't you buy the land? If you bought that land, if you bought a house in the 70s and the beginning of the 80s around here, that house was valued at $100,000 to $150,000. The same house today, plus with this crazy housing market, is valued at $850,000. What happened was the early adopters who took a risk on Arlington area made a lot of profit in the house. Now, people who are late adopters who are buying the same house today at $850,000 aren't going to get nearly the payoff that early adopter had. Same happened with TikTok. When TikTok first kind of rolled out, we had our early adopters who made the most gains because they were first to the platform. As a platform gained popularity, they had already established a base and they were able to grow astronomically. Now, as more and more people see that this platform is gaining popularity, it floods that algorithm. And now you're competing. We're now in an $850,000 housing market. We missed the $150,000 vote. Does that mean you shouldn't be on those platforms? No, it does mean that you should be on them, but don't expect a get-rich-quick scheme overnight anymore. That is just what happened. So in Corey, what she's saying is that actually in the past month, you used to be able to upload videos to Instagram and have them in your feed. Instagram's actually said, no, we're actually going to force those to become Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels now. So now every single video, every video you post to Instagram, whether it is a reel or not, becomes a reel.
Yeah.
It has to be a reel now, or it can be a story, I guess.
It can, but if you had videos, if I was talking to she has about 34,000 followers, and I said, hey, you have so much reach on your profile in your videos. And she's like, I actually only do videos because the reels were getting so oversaturated that the videos were performing. And then that same day, it was like, no more videos. So I was like, what are you going to do? And she's like, I'm going to be sad, but I have no choice.
Right. So what we're seeing now is like, you may look at another baker and be like, look, they built their whole following off of Reels. Why am I not getting that experience? Hey, they built in Arlington in the 80s. We are now in Arlington in 2022, and it is quite expensive to live here.
So I would say don't get discouraged with the content you're posting. Be consistent with it. Is everything that me and Heather post like knocking out of the park? Absolutely not. But what I just look for is consistency. Is the average always going up? Are some of them going to hit? Yeah. Some of them not going to hit? Absolutely. But I never give up because maybe a few don't do as well as I thought it would perform. What I do is look at the insights, learn from the insights. I can see how many people save a reel. When I see a lot of saves, people like this content. They like the how-to content. They like when we break something down for them. I like the meme content.
Meme content always lands. Okay, moving on because the battery's dying on this old bad boy. Hello, Miracle Twins. Every time I hear that, I want to say activate. Which is from a cartoon I watched as a kid. Melissa from the 480 area code, Phoenix, Arizona. I own Lemmy gluten-free. She even writes Lemmy, which is the way I spell Lemmy. A dedicated gluten-free bakery. Facebook marketing question. When making a pre-sale post in a neighborhood group and about a week has gone by, do I bump my post or do I make a new one? I don't want to fill up the group with marketing, but I also want to get noticed. Thanks for your assistance. Wonder Twins activate. My favorite twin is whichever one has the best answer.
Okay. Actually, it depends how well the post does originally. If you post up and it falls flat on its face, I would say go ahead and make a new post. If you have a post that does pretty well, commenting on it a few days later will actually jump it to the top of people's news feeds who look at the newest activity by default.
Before you think Corey's opinion is subjective, it's actually objective in the aspect that Facebook ads buyers, if an ad performs well, will actually continue to use the same ad instead of creating a new one. Why? Because of all that social proof in the likes and comments. You can see some Facebook ads have actually been running for years because the social proof built in their comment section is so solid that it helps with conversion. So like Corey said, if the comments on that original post are so solid that people praising you, saying it was amazing the last pre-sale, that's going to be one that you want people to see again. If it's people saying that they hate you and it tastes like soap, probably just make a new post. Again, respect the rules of the group. You do not want to get banned from these groups. They're such a solid lead source. I hate to see when people get banned for rule breaking, but it's always interesting to try to test a new medium. Like maybe if you posted a photo, could you post a reel or a video in that group to see how that? I don't think videos perform well in groups personally.
I don't think so either.
But could you change the type of post, the type of imagery? Now we do that in Facebook ads as well to see which resonates with the audience most. So if you didn't like the performance of the first one, no sweat. Try reposting it. Try switching up the copy, different emojis, a hook if you want to, and see how that performs in a group.
Or be like me, make your own group.
Corey has made her own group, and now she is the leader. And she can post whatever. It is hard to run groups and make them quality content, so it is not for the faint of heart. Moving forward, before the podcast equipment dies, it's running on rechargeable batteries. I wanted to be
sponsors. Go ahead.
Sponsors. Cast Iron, castiron.me is websites for foodpreneurs by foodpreneurs. Mark Josephson and Emily Brungard are in the group, and they are here to help you get online and before the holiday rush. So if you want to check them out, go to castiron.me and get you a website, Fran.
Website friend, and sometimes we'll actually help you make it.
Most of the time. I've never seen them say no.
The next is a meringue powder. It is by Bakety Bake, but it's called Royal Batch. It's something I swear by. I use it in my cookies. If you like the way my cookies look, you might like the way your cookies look. But you can find it at baketybakeIdaho.com and use the code TWINS, TWINS, Twins Octavite, for 10% off. But it already has 3 ingredients in there, and comes with food coloring, white food coloring, so you don't have to add it. Corn syrup, don't have to add it. And vanilla extract, don't have to add it.
And Eddie. Does he need any intro? We're actually going to be giving away an Eddie in October to celebrate the 2nd anniversary of Sugar Cookie Marketing Group. How to enter? We'll let you know. Still figuring it out.
I'm still figuring it out.
That somebody's going to get an Eddie in a year in the Cookie College, one lucky winner. But if you don't know what Eddie is, it's my boyfriend. Just kidding. He is everybody's boyfriend, and he gets around because he has his own group, Eddie User Printers Group,
Eddie,
Primera.
the Edible Printer Users Group.
Okay, great. They were like, let's call him everything. So Eddie is a direct-to-food printer. It is a really, really cool piece of technology. When I asked people what's something they'd buy if they won the billion lottery, they all said an Eddie. I think
you can toss away your airbrush. You can toss away them stencils, the airbrush colors, because an Eddie can replace it all.
How much is Eddie? He is $3,000. How much time does he save? Apparently a lot.
$3,000 worth.
Yeah, with the good enough marketing, great for commercial type sales, printing logos. Real estate agents love to see them logos on a cookie. You could actually get Eddie to pay for himself. I've seen people pay for himself in as little as 6 months.
Yeah.
But that's going to take some hard level marketing and non-emotional approach to business.
Yes, it is.
It is just business. So I think that takes us through the podcast. We've just hit an hour.
You didn't say any Twinterest. Do you have anything that's Twinteresting? Twinteresting.
Well, you know what? I've honestly, this whole week I've been spending cable managing. If you know what cable management is, I want you to look at any Pottery Barn display. There's not one cable. That is not reality. Cables are everywhere, and hiding them is a lost art. And I've been struggling with cable management. Stop looking at the floor. Look up. So I found some cool Amazon things. Actually, Velcro, the company, makes these Velcro strips that are meant for cable management. And you get in a pack of like 300.
Wow.
I've used 299. But I think that the cable management looks pretty nice.
It does.
I got all the cables kind of hidden. Corey's looking in the hidden
corner of sin over there.
Right there. It's under the table. Okay, what do you got?
Oh, I wasn't thinking about one.
You were too busy judging me. Non-emotional approach. Let's see your cables.
I don't have one. Okay, I'll do 2 for next week.
You've been recording TikToks.
TikToks?
You've been covering things that you like. Oh, you got that hole punch cutter? I saw.
Oh, yeah. I had that. But I didn't know people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
If you do circle cookie tags, you can just buy them on Etsy. They come in circles. I didn't know people were cutting those out by hand. If you are still doing that, stop. You can actually go to Michael's, and there's this brand called Recollections, and they have 1-inch circles, 2-inch circles, I think even up to a 3-inch circle, but you can just buy a giant hole puncher and punch those out. It is a time saver. So, time is money, and if it's not profitable, we can't do it. So if you wanted to save time and do those cute circle cookie tags, definitely go hit up Michael's and get those. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon too.
Amazon, man.
Yeah, but I just hole punch. It's so oddly satisfying to do a giant hole puncher like that.
Sure. I'm just punching holes in paper.
I know. So what I do is I got this little case from Amazon, and I put all my little cookie tags in there. They're already cut and ready to go. So by the time the pre-sale hits, it's not me staying up till 2 a.m.
Because you have built in a budget of time for your stress-free, emotionless, sterile cockpit of a business. Okay, kids, we will see you next week. What day? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.